Welcome to the Lit Marriage Podcast with authors and Christian relationship coaches Cassidy and Daniela Parlane. On this podcast, you will discover how to transform your marriage from autopilot mode to keeping the flame of purpose, passion, and romance lit in the marriage that God designed for you to have. Learn to love intentionally together. Are you ready to keep it lit? Here we go.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Lit Marriage Podcast. We are your hosts, Cassidy
And Daniela.
And today, folks, we want to have a discussion with you about pillow talk. Ooh. What is
Hide the children. Discretion is advised. You've been warned.
Well, you know, we're called a Lit Marriage Podcast for a reason. It's all about keeping the flame lit in your marriage. And the lit stands for what, Daniela?
Love intentionally together.
There you go. And so we want to encourage you out there to be intentional about your love life. Be intentional about your just your marriage and
your pillow talk.
Yes.
In this case.
Be intentional about your pillow talks. What is that? What are pillow talks?
Well, why don't you
elaborate? I just asked you. What
You like how I did that?
Yes.
You like how I just threw that back in your court?
Yes, you did. Yes.
Yep.
Oh, you totally did. Answering my question with a question.
Mm-hmm. And that's often how a lot of our pillow talks begin.
Wow.
We just play tennis with words. And before you know it, we change sports.
You know what?
Anyway.
Can we stick to what we are talking about?
It's just chatting while you're on your pillow.
There you go. And
one thing leads to another.
It's very simple.
And another.
It's very simple, right?
It is.
So really what we're saying, guys, is simply this. It's not how you start. It's how you finish.
Say that again.
Yeah.
He's talking about the day, how you finish the day. Yeah. You might not... Oh, get your mind out of that gutter, honey.
I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you.
What he's trying to say...
I said exactly what I'm trying to say. Okay. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And so... yeah, pillow talks are important because you know what, guys, like we come home from work and the wife would say, "So honey, how was your day?" And we're like, yeah, same old. And really, you know, maybe there are some things that we want to talk about that's just on our hearts, but it's better suited for the pillow.
Yeah.
If you understand what I'm saying.
It's kind of hard to have conversations with kids.
Kids running
flinging
around.
Peas across the table.
Yeah. And you're telling your
Daddy, Mommy,
right?
Mommy, Daddy, Mommy. It's really hard. We know this from experience.
You're telling the kid to eat your dinner, and you're trying to have a conversation.
Can't even get one sentence in.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. In our case.
So it actually requires so much effort that it gets exhausting. So
right? You
really have to set that time aside to have just you and me intimate time. And it doesn't have to be this, okay, we're putting 2 hours aside. unless you want to. But I mean, what better time than when you're in your,
your bed.
Birthday suit. Or not, or just in your bed, just laying down. You're relaxed.
Right.
The lights are dimmed.
Your guards are
down. It's quiet. Yeah, your guard is down, and it's just the two of you.
Right.
So the atmosphere is already ready to have intimate conversation, and it could be very lighthearted. Yeah. In fact, it starts out very lighthearted, and sometimes it goes into like, it segues into like deeper conversations.
Yeah. Could be spiritual matters.
Could be anything.
Could be, issues that are happening, say with a neighbor, or,
Yeah, it could be so random.
Yeah, or just talking about something that happened at your kid's school, or just whatever. Just conversations. It doesn't have to
anything that's
be
on your heart or mind. It just relieves pressure to just let it out.
Talk
just
about it before you go to bed.
Talk to someone.
Yeah.
And who better than your spouse?
You see, the problem is there are people who they hold on to these burdens. Yes, unnecessary burdens. And they would go to bed and wake up with the exact same thing. They go to bed thinking about it, wake up thinking about it, and it's just weighing on them. And they had that opportunity to release it on that the pillow talk, potential pillow talk that could have happened, but somehow they just didn't release it then, if you understand.
That's what your spouse is there for. You're supposed to bear one another's burdens.
Yeah, right.
I think that's one of the big primary reasons God made man and woman, so that he knew that it's not good for a man to be alone. Why?
So
you need that support.
Why don't we look at I would say, an exaggerated example.
Okay.
What if your spouse is a talker and you're not?
Some burdens are bigger than others.
Should you then schedule the talk? I'm just trying to understand here. Should you? I mean, the man's dead tired. He wants to go to his bed, and I mean, come on. I'm trying to understand here. If one of the spouse is a talker, do you say, honey, I only got 5 minutes? Should you? I'm just trying to understand here. I mean, are we?
I think this is where compromise is needed, and where we need to be sensitive to each other's needs, and wants, and you get to you feel out that person. You know your weaknesses and you know your strengths.
Right.
And I think that all gets taken into consideration, even with the pillow talk. But I think that the more you invest in that time together, the more it won't be like pulling teeth.
Right.
For it, maybe for that spouse, the one that doesn't talk much might open up more and feel more like, oh, I can open up, I can talk more. Because I know you brought this up recently, how like there's people, especially in the workplace, men in the workplace, that sometimes they tend to like yap all day long with their guy friends or people at work, with their workmates, co-workers, and then they go home and it's like,
they have nothing
hi
to talk
honey
about.
How was your day? It was good. Leave me alone, kind of thing, because they've unloaded everything
at work
to their buddies. So basically it's like they have no problem developing this almost intimacy with, like, this bromance with other guys. But then they come home and they are, like denying
speechless.
that.
They have nothing
from their wife. They're not
to talk about because they've out-talked themselves.
Exactly.
At work.
So I think it's kind of a myth that men don't really talk. I think it's a myth.
You're definitely right about that. In my experience working around men in construction, men always have things to talk about. Always. Some things
Did
which
you
are...
hear that, ladies?
Some things which are, even totally inappropriate. Lots and lots of inappropriate things are talked about on the construction site. And even as a Christian man, I have to have this filter, constant filter, and trying to like keep, not necessarily making people feel like I'm better than them,
right?
But there's always chatter going on the construction site. So and coworkers they act like therapists, to be honest. And the things that they shed their hearts at work about to some of their coworkers, it's almost as if they wouldn't dare have those types of conversations.
It's crazy.
With their spouse.
So, as a man,
yes,
what kind of insights can you offer, given that you have this perspective, you get to see this on a regular basis?
Right.
What do you think, as a man, what is lacking there? Like, why would a man be so comfortable just being totally laid back at the workplace or with his buddies, and just let it all out, and then he goes home and then he clamps up when he sees his wife when she wants to talk? Can you think of anything that maybe the woman could do to help him open up, or vice versa? Like, what's up? What can the man do differently so that he is more apt to open up? I mean, you kind of alluded to one thing, like maybe he's just all talked out when he comes home. He's just like, I've said everything. I've met my talking quota for the day.
You see, the difference is a woman, she'll out-talk a man any day. We know this, right? The amount of words that a woman speaks versus the amount of words that a man speaks. It's
right. Not always.
There's a statistic.
There are exceptions, but yeah.
Generally,
right.
But there's a statistic out there. I don't quite remember what the statistic says, but for women, like, even after you have finished your day at work, you still have more to talk about. Unlike the guys, when we come home after a full day of chatting, it's almost as if we're drained. And I think we're just...
Is it just when you're exhausted or tired, it's just you're tapped out?
I think we
is there an emotional factor involved, like where why would a man be more comfortable just divulging, just being comfortable opening up to random guys, as opposed to his life partner, the woman that he is intimate with?
There could be several factors where that's concerned, and we can't just pinpoint any one thing. Perhaps, that could be an inherent thing where maybe that's what he's seen growing up, right?
That's actually a good one.
That could be one factor. It could also be that because men are more visual than women, they're turned on by what they hear. Men are turned on by what they see. Perhaps for some men, they're so charged, like mentally charged. They're constantly seeing images, and it's like that's what sort of gets them going. Perhaps the woman she needs to discover what gets him going, if you know what I mean. I don't want to put this all on the wife,
right?
Because the man does play a part here. He obviously has to take responsibility for his own behavior, his own actions, and he has to now be intentional when he comes home, that he doesn't allow himself to be so tapped out from work that when he comes home, he has nothing to talk to his wife about. I think there's a problem there.
Could there also be the issue of men not being very vulnerable? They don't like being put in a vulnerable situation. So the fact that they're like with the guys, it's different maybe because they're guys. But with the women, if they're opening up, it's as if, well, I'm supposed to be Mr. Tough Guy. I don't do that. I don't need to. Like maybe it's too vulnerable for some men.
I'm going to say to the men that are listening, if you cannot be vulnerable to your wife, you may need to go speak to a professional. It's plain and simple. I'm not trying to be disrespectful here in any way, but I do believe that your spouse should be the one person in your life that you share your most
naked with, and not just physically but emotionally.
Exactly. This is the person you decided to spend the rest of your life with, and you did that in a vow. And so it's important to get outside of yourself a little bit, men, and realize that there are conversations to be had. I'll say this, you don't have to be it doesn't always have to be about sex, because it seems like that's the only conversation that men are open to, most men, right? It could be just about, how are we gonna navigate in this new economy. We could talk about the serious things of life too, like spiritual matters, doctrinal matters in your belief system. Perhaps because of this COVID pandemic that's on the world, your doctrinal beliefs have advanced or have changed or evolved or whatever it is. Right. Just find conversations that the two of you have an interest in talking about. Find those niche conversations and just let them rip. For us, we have a lot of different conversations. I know because of my work schedule that when I come in, especially after wearing a mask for God knows how long, I work 10 hours a day, and I drive 2 solid hours a day, 2 solid hours. So all in all, I'm on the road for 12 hours a day. And so when I get home, I am completely beat. I'm completely exhausted. My little daughter looked at me recently and she's like, "Daddy, I haven't seen you all day. Can we play?" And I'm thinking to myself, I'm tapped out, baby. I'm so beat. But then I'm thinking, what's gonna happen? Like, I blink and she's 18 and I'm thinking, my God, I haven't spent much time with her. The same can be true in your marriage, that you blink and you're 20 years in and you are just on autopilot and you're thinking, how on earth did I get there? Well, there are conversations that you could have had. There are experiences that you probably have forfeited because of you wanting to just be in your man cave, in your own space, in your own head.
Right.
We have
autopilot
a space
mode.
We have a space in our brain that it's only for us.
Box.
The nothing box. There is a nothing box that men have, and we just want nothing to be in that box. Sometimes I just want to talk about nothing. And that's okay with me. But it's not always okay with you, because you have so many things on your heart that you want to talk about. So for me, I have to get out of that nothing box from time to time and really open up and allow you to express some of the things.
So I'm the talker.
Well,
I have a big mouth.
I said
Am I a blabbermouth?
We set off the top of our conversation.
I know what our topic for Pillow Talk is going to be tonight.
God. But you understand what I'm saying. Like, as men, we have to get out of our nothing box.
Yeah. Got to come out of that comfort zone.
Yes.
And you'd be surprised how much fun you'll have.
Yeah, because, like, you have no idea how that pillow talk can end. In fact, it could end in your favor, men. It really could. So, be open to having more of those talks. And
you'll look forward to going to bed every night.
You know what? I'll say this. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
That's okay.
But one of the things that could encourage more pillow talks is you have to intentionally go to bed together. Because you can't have pillow talks if one person decides, I'm going to bed, I don't care what's happening in the world, I don't care if the world's we're going to hell in a handbasket, I'm going to bed.
Yeah, I know for us, like you were saying, like you're gone for like 12 hours, you're like super exhausted, you come home, you have your dinner. By the time we get the kids, their bedtime routine done, and we do our little devotional and prayer, put them down, you're like wiped, and you want to go to bed. And there's been times that I'm just not tired. Like I'm still good to go. I could just read. I like to do a lot of reading and studying and different things, but I am very intentional that, like, if you go to bed if you decided, like, that's it, 8:30, 8:45, 9 o'clock, I'm going to bed, I am intentional. I go, we take our shower and I go right into the bed. And sometimes, we're still, even though you're tired, you're in your bed, and we still have that little pillow talk time before you pass out.
I appreciate that and I appreciate your understanding as well, with my hectic schedule. But I also appreciate the fact that when I'm calling it a night, you're like right there. And it actually,
because I cherish that time together.
It actually just reaffirms our love for each other, because I see it all too often where couples, they go to bed at separate times. Some guys or some gals, they fall asleep on the couch because they're up watching TV.
One's watching. I think that's probably one of the most common things. It's like, good night. One of them goes to bed because of whatever, their schedule, and the other one's like watching 17 episodes of whatever.
Right.
And or on Facebook or whatever it is. And before you know it, you'll very easily drift apart without even noticing. It's like the silent killer.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So even just that minor, it's not minor. It may seem minor, but that minor habit change can completely
radically change your marriage.
Like, throw that tablet away, baby. Turn that TV off.
Yes.
Get rid of that tube. We don't even watch TV, do we? We don't watch TV. But I mean, that thing alone could do wonders for your marriage. Just turn that thing off.
Absolutely.
Turn it off more often than it ever is on. And I think that's what causes our conversations to become.
Do you remember when I was like a news junkie?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. I mean, I'd come home dead tired and I'd be just turning on the news. I don't even watch the news anymore. I'm at such peace.
Totally changed that.
I'm at such peace. I used to be just so miserable and just like grumpy and
because it gets to you, like what you hear on the media. Yep.
And so these are some little tips that we're putting out there. Men, get out of your nothing box.
Turn off the television.
Yes, turn off.
Crying out loud, just turn it off.
And try to create a habit of going to bed together.
Trade the TV for pillow talk time.
Yes.
You're welcome.
I think we're going to end right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get started on our pillow talk.
Yeah.
Right after this
episode. Yes.
And we encourage y'all to do the same.
Yes. Please have more
pillow
talks. again, you never know how it will end. Your latter might be better
than the beginning.
There you go. But yes, thank you guys so much for listening. We hope and trust that this was an edifying conversation, and that if you know somebody that would benefit from this conversation, please go ahead and share. Share anyways on your social. If you would like to reach out to us, you can reach us on our social or on our website at makeyourmarriagegreatagain.ca, and there you'll find all of our social and ways to get in touch with us. Until next time, guys, again, we are so happy that you tuned in. So until next time, we say keep it
lit.
God bless you guys. Take care.